What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Nocturnal Gamer here with none other than a Resident Evil tier list. That's right. I thought I'd hop on the tier list bandwagon and go ahead and rate my favorite Resident Evil games. Since it's one of my favorite franchises of all time, I figured, hey, why not give you my opinion on Resident Evil games throughout history? So, without further ado, let's get into this video, man. Okay, so this is the Resident Evil tier list here. As you can see, it has all the Resident Evil games in history. I'm sure there's one you could find missing if you really looked hard enough, but you could even see that it has Resident Evil Gaiden on here for the Game Boy Color. So yeah, pretty much every Resident Evil game that is in existence is on this tier list here. I had to add an F tier list. Sadly, Resident Evil is responsible for some F tier games, and that's for damn sure. But yeah, let's get into this right off the jump. Resident Evil Revelations, man. Now, when I got that game, the whole reason I bought it was for co-op. Okay, I played Revelations 1, I believe. Resident Evil Revelations. And I believe it had co-op if I remember correctly. But then I got to Revelations 2, and I believe it was me and my cousin actually started playing it because of co-op. And because we had played Resident Evil 6. And the entire time, you just hold a flashlight for player 1. A flashlight. That's it. And you like open doors for them. That's about it. You are a side piece. If you've ever played as a side piece, this would be the game. If you like to be errand boy, bitch, you know, then Resident Evil Revelations 2 is for you, because your job is to hold a flashlight and to open doors. And for that reason, and the story, I know this isn't a review, and to get through this tier list I gotta get moving, but the story was just blah. Everything was just in this game, and it's really disappointing. Now, I wasn't, the worst, so it's not a D, but we're gonna put this as a C. Just an okay. It's just an okay game. It's good filler, I guess. Up next is Resident Evil 7. Now, that's the start of the Ethan White storyline. Or Ethan White. Is his name last name? Winters. Ethan Winters. White, Winter, same thing. Set in Louisiana. My residence here, as I live in Louisiana, recognize some of the locale. Not really, but... So basically, for this one, this redefined Resident Evil for the next gen, I would say. After Resident Evil 6, 5, oh, actually Resident Evil 7, I actually slipped and forgot that even no, Resident Evil 7 is Biohazard, my bad. I'm used to them going by numbers. But yes, after 6, Resident Evil needed a revival, because it was just going downhill. And this changed to a first-person perspective. Really amped up the horror. It got rid of it still had action, which is the way Resident Evil was going, but this really redefined the franchise, and for that, Resident Evil 7 is going to go into the A tier. A tier, not S. S, you have to really earn your S with me, okay? What the fuck is this? This is something I've never... Oh, this is Mercenaries. Okay, I couldn't read the title. This is Resident Evil Mercenaries? The Mercenaries 3D, yeah. So, this is just like one of those spin-off titles. Really didn't advance the storyline at all. It was based off the Mercenaries mode, which is I believe it was based off the Mercenaries mode of, 5, 6, and all that. Survival, stuff like that. Just a D tier. Offers nothing special, doesn't revolutionize anything. That's why it ends up in that D tier. It's a 3D title, 3DS. Resident Evil 5. I had a hell of a lot of fun playing Resident Evil 5, and I know that it catches a lot of flack. Especially coming after 4. 4 was this revolutionary game. And then they followed up with Resident Evil 5. Okay? First off, it gets off to a rocky start because people say it's racist. Because they're shooting black zombies, even though they're in Africa. I understand there's white people in Africa. I understand that. But that's besides the point. it starts off to a rocky thing. People are trying to boycott the game. They don't think that it's right that you play as a white protagonist, which is Chris Redfield, and you're killing black zombies. Okay, all right. Besides that, though, it was still more of a trend of Resident Evil going to an action-oriented gameplay. And, this is the first, I think this is the first instance where zombies start using guns? No. Yeah, I think so. I've been trying to play Resident Evil 5 on Steam with my buddy, Leovold Gaming, but, to no success because you have to download a patch on the internet. It doesn't automatically update. That's besides the point, though. It's very action-oriented. It has co-op, which I don't think, even though as much as I love co-op, it doesn't belong in Resident Evil because it takes away from the horror aspect of the franchise. But it was a lot of fun. And Chris punches a boulder. He punches a boulder. Do you understand how large a boulder is? This fool punches it repeatedly with nothing but his fist into a river of lava. And for that reason, Resident Evil 5 is a B tier. Okay, a B tier game. It's a good game. If you play it, you'll laugh at the game, but you'll have a lot of fun with it, in my opinion. RE Verse. So that is Resident Evil 8's mode, right? I haven't gotten to play it yet. I'll be completely honest. I know it just recently came out, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments, but I believe it just barely came out. So I haven't had much experience with it. I'll put it in the C tier. I'll probably, put a comment down in the post, down in the video, letting you know what I think of it once I play it. But for now, we'll just put it in the C tier because, I can't say it's a bad game. Can't say it's a good one, but it's just, it's unknown. So it'll go in the average C tier. Resident Evil Outbreak. This is not the first one. This is the second one. This is the sequel to Resident Evil Outbreak, which is down here. The sequel to Resident Evil Outbreak, it's not good. I like Resident Evil Outbreak. Resident Evil Outbreak is like Madagascar 3. Like, that is the equivalence here. Like, here's Madagascar 1, maybe 2. Here's Madagascar 3. D tier. No. D tier. It's not good. Let's just say zombie elephants, zombie giraffes, your zombie zoo, okay? Not good. Resident Evil, Jesus Christ, I can't read that. What the hell does that say? Sorry, I'm zooming in here. I don't think I've played this one either. These are some really fucking really bizarre games here that like weren't really mainstream. Or like these are ports, I believe. I can't really see the title. I wish it was a little bigger. Same with this, man. Really hard to see. Could we like zoom into this? We're gonna click on something. Oh, bad idea. Sorry about that. See, like that, it doesn't even look familiar. Oh. No, I don't know. I'm gonna put it in the C tier. Umbrella Chronicles. That. Do not play this game. D tier. I don't have much to say on Umbrella Chronicles, to be honest, just because I started playing it and I was like, this ain't it, Chief. This is not it. Believe it or not, Resident Evil has a lot of filler titles that just don't cut it. Like what is this? Resident Evil Survivor. That's one of them. That's a filler title. Just let's put out a game. We don't have anything. Put it out. Put it out now. I don't care. Resident Evil 3. This is a hard one for me because Resident Evil 3 on the PlayStation 1 was a great time for me. I loved the original Resident Evil 3. So I was really excited for Nemesis to make his return with his RPG and just like I always felt like Nemesis was after me in the original game. This one I didn't have that same level of fear. I don't think they executed quite on the scale or quite on the, they didn't execute the way they could have. I know that Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, in fans' eyes, is kind of a letdown from 2, but I really loved it. And the remake, same kind of thing, where Resident Evil 2 Remake in the eyes of most fans is like the shit, and the Resident Evil 3 Remake is just kind of like, okay, it's good, but it could have been so much better. And I kind of feel that way. I think it's worse than the original. Just something about it, man. It's really, and Carlos's hair, man, it's bad. The hair physics, he looks greasy. I don't want that guy to be my partner. But yeah, Resident Evil 3 actually, I mean, it was still a good game. I would still say play it. It's a good, solid game. I put it at a B tier. It's a good Resident Evil game. It's above average. See, like, once again, this is going in a D tier for bad fucking editing. Like, what the fuck is that? Yeah, so I guess we could there. I have no idea what that is. Resident Evil 0. Now, this is the era when they first started launching the remakes on the GameCube. Everyone knows about the great remake of the original Resident Evil for the GameCube. It was awesome. Resident Evil 0, I've played, and it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. It's a good Resident Evil title, and it's in that era of the GameCube era where they first started those remakes. And it's a good title to jump into. It's hard. It definitely has that Resident Evil flavor, that difficulty, that backtracking, everything that you love in an old Resident Evil game. It has. The characters I don't like. I mean, that's nitpicking, but I don't like I'm not in love with the characters. I've never played it again, and for that reason, the replayability and just like, yeah, it has to make me want to go. Like Resident Evil 5, I want to go replay. Resident Evil 3, somewhere down the road, I'll replay. Resident Evil 0, I have no interest in replaying, but it was a good game. It's just, nothing makes me want to go back to it, and that's why it's a B tier. It's a good game. It's a good one playthrough game. Which is what you can't say about, you also can't say about Revelations, stuff like that. Resident Evil Resistance, this is just online stuff. It was added in with 2 or 3, I believe, and it was alright, I guess. Nothing to write home about, just another okay title. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis for the PlayStation 1, I believe, or 2. No, was it 2 era? It may have been 2. Either way, classic Resident Evil Nemesis. Nemesis made me shit my pants. And man, what a game. Stars. Like, that haunts me to this day. And you know what else haunts me? All you people sitting here wondering, hey, Nocturnal, how do you sit here, for hours possibly on end? You don't know my life. You don't know how long I've been sitting here. And you just keep making this content for us. Well, that's because I have a great chair. Okay. Let me tell you about the Titan Secret Lab chairs, okay? They are the best gaming chairs on the market, hands down. I love this gaming chair. Prior to this, I had some... Well, I'm not going to put their name out there. I'm not going to put them on blast. But let's just say I almost fell. The chair broke as I was sitting on it. And I almost got a pull where you don't want to pull. At least, surprisingly. You don't want to catch a pull, surprisingly. That's for sure. But I've had no issues with the Omega gaming chair. Secret Lab makes a great product. Top notch, I'm telling you. And if you go to my description down below, click the link. Hey, you could score yourself some, Secret Lab merch. You don't have to get a chair. They make conditioner for leather gaming seats. They have other merch as well, water bottles, stuff like that, T-shirts, anything you can think of. They have over there. Go cop yourself some Secret Lab merch and help the channel out. Buy merch there, goes to the channel and buying games, stuff like that. So yeah, that's my plug for Secret Lab. And back to the video here. with Resident Evil Revelations. This is the first one prior to Revelations 2, obviously. And I enjoyed it a little bit better than 2. And that's why it is a B tier. You just don't hold a flashlight. There's none of that stuff. It's on a ship, and it's kind of close quarters. Kind of what you want from a Resident Evil game. Keeps you on edge. It's a good B title. Replayability, not there. Kind of like Resident Evil 0, which keeps it from being that A tier game. But still a solid title, I would say, and worth a playthrough. Yeah, I'm not sure. That'll go into this D tier for bad clip art. Yeah, it says Resident Evil. Is that Resident Evil 2? No, this is Resident Evil 2 right here. Well, let's go into the D. Umbrella Corps. This is when Capcom decided, we need money. Give us your money. More money. We need it all. Please. So they decided, hey, what do people love to do? Shoot zombies. Do they like survival horror? Wait, this is a survival horror franchise? Forget about it. Let's just give them assault rifles, put them in Umbrella, and let's just have them go shoot zombies with some terrible, terrible gameplay, terrible gunplay, terrible game. It is just bad. Do not play Umbrella Corp. Do not let this be your introduction to Resident Evil, okay? F tier. F tier. I don't even want to fucking touch the icon anymore because I might contract something, and it's just bad. And now that we've gotten out of the bad, we got to balance it out with some good. And that's the Resident Evil 2 Remake. S tier. Resident Evil 2 Remake was a damn good game and should have been Game of the Year. I don't know what else was the candidate, but it should have been, it was up there. That game was great. That's how you do a remake. Like, it felt so fresh, yet so familiar, and just so damn good. If you haven't played Resident Evil 2 Remake, please go and play it, because it is great Resident Evil action. If you love Resident Evil, any of these titles, you will damn sure love Resident Evil 2. That's for sure. That's a nocturnal stamp of approval there, okay? Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City, F tier. Now you might be saying, well, wait, you're putting it below Outbreak 2? Yes, because this is also in the same vein of Umbrella Corps. It's not, I mean, if I had to pick between the two, I'd play Operation Raccoon City. It was a multiplayer, one side's Umbrella, one side's not Umbrella. Or were they both Umbrella? I think they were both different teams. But you're like racing to like kill the other team while there's zombies around and all that. And that sounds like a good idea. Like a multiplayer versus, but, you know, with zombies getting in your way. It was not executed well at all. Once again, like Umbrella Corps, terrible gunplay, terrible gameplay, terrible multiplayer numbers because nobody was playing the game, so it was hard to get into matches. It was a case of launch dead. So I just wasted my money buying this game, and I can't play it online, and it's only an online thing, so fuck me, right? That is Operation Raccoon City. And once again, Resident Evil 2, S tier. If you haven't caught on, Resident Evil 2 is just a great game. Probably, if I had to pick one game to define the horror genre, the survival horror genre, no disrespect to Silent Hill, but Resident Evil 2 is the pinnacle of the survival horror genre and is one of the greatest games of all time. Not just of Resident Evil, of all time. And if I was doing an all-time games playlist or a tier list, Resident Evil 2 would be at the damn near top of it because it's that good of a game. I don't need to say any more. Just go play it if you haven't played it. Play the remake if you want more updated graphics and visuals. But man, Resident Evil 2 PlayStation, still pop that in every now and then. I have a copy on my shelf. It's collecting a little bit of dust. Might have to dust that off and play it because it's that great of a game. Still holds up to this day. That moves to Resident Evil Remake on the GameCube. A tier. Great game. You might be saying, well, why isn't it an S tier? And that's because I'm going to look at this both ways. Is it an S tier to me? Absolutely. I love Resident Evil Remake. I'm streaming it right now on Twitch, by the way. nocturnalgamer_93. That's my Twitch. You want to catch some of these YouTube videos early, like my Mass Effect playthroughs, go check me out on Twitch. Follow, it's free. But the Resident Evil remake on GameCube and eventually ported to PlayStation 4 and all current systems, man, what a great game. But the camera angles, and I love them. Don't get me wrong, I love the camera angles of the original Resident Evil. I think they add to the horror and suspense of the title. But I could see how someone coming into the franchise saying, okay, let me start with the first game. What is going on? I can't see anything. What is going on? I can't aim my gun, and these controls are so tanky. The tank controls of Resident Evil are ever present, and I love it. I love it because I grew up with it. But I know it's not going to be at the top of everyone's list, especially with remakes like Resident Evil 2 and 3 with more, more fluid controls. I could see how maybe it's a little dated, but man, I love this game. It's an A tier. Even 10 years from now, I'll still be playing Resident Evil 1 with the tank controls, with the camera angles, and I'll still be having a heart attack when the damn dogs jump through the window. That shit is just keeps me on edge every time. Now, you want to talk about an S tier. Resident Evil 4. What a game. Horror, action, perfectly blended together. Piece of resistance, This game, even if you don't like Resident Evil, if you hate Resident Evil, you have to thank this game. You have to respect Resident Evil 4, because without it, an entire genre of games wouldn't even exist. And I'm talking about that third-person over-the-shoulder view that had never been done before Resident Evil 4. So we created that entire Gears of War look. Well, really, I'm drawing a blank, but you know what I mean. Right behind you, Nathan Drake, Uncharted, Last of Us, fucking, you can count the games. I'm not going to sit here and name them all, but every game with that camera right behind you, third-person view, you can thank to Resident Evil 4. And my God, the first time I encountered a chainsaw-wielding maniac was one of the most intense moments in gaming for me. And I really, really wish they didn't waste Leon's story on Resident Evil 6, but we'll get into that. This takes place with Leon Kennedy, one of my favorite characters, along with Jill and Chris Redfield. Leon is also in Resident Evil 2. So Leon, Mr. Kennedy here, has now, made the S tier multiple times. So good for him. Good for him. Chris, meanwhile, Resident Evil 5, and you know how that goes. Code Veronica is an interesting game. It's the first naked zombie I've ever seen in my life, and I was disturbed. I was really disturbed. They didn't have penises or anything, but it was still disturbing. But man, you could dual wield in this Resident Evil, and it was interesting. You play Claire, which I love Claire Redfield, Chris's sister, and man, it's a good, fun game. It was really difficult for me because when I did play it, I was really young. I was a lot younger, and maybe I just didn't grasp the concept of the game quite as well, and I would really like to go back and play it and give it another shot. I've tried to play it twice. Hey, Corgi. Shh. I've tried to play it twice, and, it's a good game. But once again, it's not like average. No, to me, it's C tier. I've never had any interest in going back to Veronica. Maybe that's on me as an individual, and I should go back. But yeah, to me, it's a C tier. I've never been like, oh man, I gotta go play Veronica. Just fucking, that's not me. It belongs here with Resident Evil Revelations 2, RE-verse, and all this other filler. This is going down here for bad clip art. Sorry, guys. Resident Evil Survivor is another game that I have yet to play. Never played that on the PlayStation. I'll put it on a C tier just because I haven't played it. If you guys think it should be higher or lower, let me know in the comments if you actually played this. This is another one of those spin-offs. They made so much money with Resident Evil PlayStation was probably like, you gotta crank these out. Crank these out. We gotta make some money here, guys. Let's do it. So yeah, another spin-off, but at least I bet every dollar in my wallet that it plays better than these two games, and this was on PlayStation. I would make a grand bet that it still plays better than those. Resident Evil D tier. No, that's not it. And maybe call me an elitist here, but the graphics of GameCube color, this game is not aged well. It wasn't well back then. No, it's not an F tier. It's still better. Like, this is a special reserved hell for games that just absolutely suck. And I'm sure someone could find some joy in Resident Evil Gaiden. And that's why it's in D tier. Resident Evil Outbreak. I loved this game, man. I really loved it. It's the first Resident Evil game that I've played online with other people on my PS2. Yeah, it was difficult because PS2's online services were nothing compared to what we have today. But man, it was fun. Do I remember any of the characters? Absolutely not. I don't remember any of them. But it was fun. And like the storage labs, and I still remember that. And it was a good Resident Evil game. I thought it was a solid game for the PS2. I kind of wish they would redo it, revisit it. I would love to play a multiplayer Resident Evil game with my buddies. And one of the cool things was if you died, you became a zombie and you had to hunt, your compatriots. And that was a really cool idea, especially for the time. And I wish they would remake it and revisit Resident Evil Outbreak. And I would put it at a B tier. Good, solid game. Sorry, I just became physically ill out of nowhere. I'm not a fan of bestiality. But you see this giraffe-looking object here. This was the big scandal back in the day. You have a giraffe. I don't know if you can see it. Giraffe on the left. Lady bent over. I think they were trying to send us warnings that this game sucks, you know what. Because Resident Evil 6, the one thing I do like about it is that it has co-op. And me and my cousin had played through it. We played through each campaign, and they tacked on Ada Wong at the end, and he played as Agent. Agent couldn't do anything. He couldn't open doors because he was just tacked on, just like Ada Wong's campaign. This game was good because it had co-op. I wouldn't say good. Let me retract that. It was tolerable because it had co-op, and you could have some fun there. Unfortunately, I have introduced it as the first game of the Resident Evil franchise to a friend of mine, and it was not wise because at the time, back then on the 360, it was okay. Maybe I was younger. Maybe I was more, susceptible to playing crappy games. But playing it now, D tier. It's not an F. I know. I know you thought I was gonna say F, but like I said, special hell. You can find some kind of enjoyment here. Playing with a friend is always fun, especially same couch co-op. Couch co-op needs to come back. I miss couch co-op, and this had couch co-op, and it was fun. Drop kicking zombies, even though it's ridiculous, is still fun, and there's some fun to be found here. Is it a good game? No. Does it have good mechanics? No. Story? No. But it does have co-op. So, yeah, Resident Evil 6 D tier. Resident Evil Village. I really liked Village. It was a really great game. The cherry on top of the Ethan Winters storyline here in Village. I liked, if you saw my review, which I made a while back, I really liked some of the bosses, and I really hated some of the other bosses. I thought they could have been done and executed a little better. I like that the game went back to its roots with backtracking and, that survival horror. Now, it's not in the same route of Resident Evil Remake or anything like that. There was plenty of bullets, crafting, so on, which kind of eliminates some of the tension, you know, when you have 30 shotgun rounds. So it takes away from the survival horror aspect of the game, and it gives into that action. Resident Evil Village gets a... This is tough. I would give it an A tier. I really enjoyed the game, and I'm excited to see where they go with, you know, his... Well, I don't want to spoil things, but I'm excited to see where the story goes from here. But yeah, that's my tier list. Resident Evil 2's at the top 4, 7, 3 in the A tier with Remake and Village. And at the F tier, Umbrella Corps and Operation Raccoon City. If you guys enjoyed that video and enjoyed the tier list, if you disagree, let me know. If you agree, let me know. I'm glad to hear your comments, and let's have a debate in the chat down below. Leave a like, subscribe for more content, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.